my size of body doesn't have to hold me back in how athletic I am or what kind of tricks I can do or whatever. For a long time, I told myself that, it's not safe for me to fall because I'm heavier, and it's not, like safe for me to like do these tricks because like I'm going to fall harder and I'm going to hurt myself. And all these light, springy women can just like throw themselves off things and like fall and whatever. And, I think just proving to myself that my body isn't like a hindrance, that its function is still good and I can still work to become strong and improve my snowboarding, and it doesn't have anything to do with the size of my body. My name is Tanya. I go by, my pronouns are she, her, hers. I grew up out in Virginia, in a place called Fredericksburg, Virginia. Would ride the local mountains there when I could, which was Massanutten or Wintergreen. And then I moved out to Portland in 2017 to work on Mount Hood as a medic for High Cascade and Windells. My mom is from France and grew up in France. And then my dad is from India and grew up in India. And I am biracial, half Indian, half French. So I think even with that, I always felt different just because I was never like fully a part of either culture. And then I grew up in Virginia. Nobody looked like me, especially the people that liked the sports that I did, like specifically with like the Desi community. Like there aren't a lot of Indian like skiers or snowboarders at all. So I always knew that I was kind of the outcast in that way, both within my culture and within snowboarding and skiing. It was weird being in Virginia where it felt like I was super visible, but also invisible at the same time. It's really weird dichotomy there. But moving to Portland, it felt like it was the first time I'd actually been like seen. I think a little bit of a personal tidbit is that I actually grew up having an eating disorder. And I think the ski and snowboard industry, like not fitting into the pants very well and things like that. And knowing that like, as a kid, I was a pretty thin kid, but I still like my structure was bigger and I didn't look like anybody. And I so badly wanted to like fit into that culture. And I think, there are a lot of places where that disorder came from, but there was definitely a part that came from like not fitting into this really white sport and like not physically fitting in the clothes well. I have big hips and long legs and a short torso, and none of that is what they make. My first experience on Mount Hood and continuously, I think, was like just really intimidating because there are really intense, really good riders, but it's also predominantly white and predominantly male and predominantly thin. And so I think for me, it was like, I am just so different from everybody. And I felt like I was a sore thumb, and I felt like there was an eye on me, where I like couldn't mess up or fall down or anything. There was this pressure to like perform almost to like prove people wrong. It took a lot of work on my end to like be comfortable within myself to be there and feel like I deserve to be there. I'm proud of sticking with snowboarding. I'm proud of using my voice to talk about how like the industry can be very ableist and fat phobic in these ways, and like, needing more access for plus size folks, as I've grown into a plus size body, and it's taken a lot for me to accept that and know that this is likely what my life is going to be like. And coming at it from like radical acceptance was really difficult for me, surrounded by this really athletic, thin, white sport and being really fully immersed in it. Right now I work at Evo and we sell some plus size clothing, but not enough. And just being an advocate through there as well, I think is something that was really scary for me, but is so important. The amount of plus size women that come in, and, I know what it's like to cry in a dressing room because nothing fits, and I know what it's like to feel like this is the biggest size and it doesn't even fit me. And just like supporting our customers through that, there are women who their calves are too big for ski boots or snowboard boots and things like that. And just reiterating that it's not their body, it's the industry, Yeah. I think the industry has a lot of work to go in that aspect. I think I'm definitely someone that like goes after the challenge. And I think, there's always something to be learned from a challenge. And I like pushing myself and progressing. It's like a lot of women in snowboarding. And I find a lot of passion through them. And I find that a lot through my Indian folks as well. There's like kind of a passion for social justice I think within both areas of my life, where I can have very similar conversations with my Indian folks who are very like adamant and outspoken. And I think that there are a lot of people like that in the snowboard industry as well. I don't know, in my family specifically, we've all been very far away from each other. My Indian family, you know, they're particularly spread out. But I think, you know, when we come together, everything kind of starts back where we left it. And I think, you know, we find connection regardless. And I see that a lot with my snowboard community, where I know I'd have places to crash and like we'd start up from, you know, where we left off, even if we hadn't talked in forever. It's kind of this like, I have your back, you have mine kind of vibe.
Yeah, no, I like that. And in the end all, like we're all like each other, you know,
Right.
like appearance isn't, I think like as we've been talking, I've just been thinking about how similar it turns out that we all are, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like everything. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's a lot more similarities than differences, even though we cannot like all look different on the outside. I think there's a lot of similar mentalities that can occur regardless of what you look like. And I think if we all talk about it a little more, maybe it won't be such a big deal, you know?